Katarina first up versus Jareem, a bit of a mage square off, does get himself the proper burst combo, but the beam, the ice ray is not enough to shatter right through Katarina. This mage is walking in, Arcane fortified, ready to go, as Jareem trying to see if he can zone him out, got himself the elemental. Katarina taking quite a bit of damage, better be on the lookout for that ice block. Last time got really greedy with burst, wanted to go on the aggression. I love seeing that, but you do definitely have to be looking out for your own health at some point, especially if you do have an ice block. It does let you catch up a little bit of healing. Jareem trying to see if he can swing around Katarina, using that mobility. Katarina staying away from the pillar, from the tombstone, whereas Jareem crawling right around it the entire time, utilizing the line of sight, utilizing the pillar, able to weave in out in order to get himself some space, in order to get himself a proper go. Does get a freeze. Katarina does try to go for an interrupt, doesn't quite get it. That's going to be a nice shake for Jareem, but isn't really able to commit a full spike right there. Breath missing it could be an opportunity for Katarina to potentially have a go. Does get a breath. Poly to follow. Katarina had himself a chance to get a go. Poly right after, as Jareem getting aggressive with a trick it back for Katarina. Doesn't really take a lot of damage from that glacial. I guess he really needed that shatter bonus to make it worth the while. As Jareem takes a lot of damage from the arcade go, and that's not even Katarina the full straight. They're just missiles, as well as another Tempest barrages blast. Jareem not doing that great right now. Does go in for the block, did not trust like a barrage not to kill him right then and there. The man does get himself at least a little bit of a reset, together with the ice block, does get a healing portion enabled this time around. And Katarina able to make so much pressure with just a touch of the Magi, good management of resources, and another Tempest. I am afraid to see what Katarina can do once they get a full Arcane Surge and everything going. Full setup for Jareem. Nova trying to see if he can freeze the guy, doesn't quite get to. He really needs to get the snowdrift in order to build up the pressure, build up the stacks of frost, until just in case is Katarina in this tombstone of just pure ice and glacial. This is going to be trying to go for a bit of a juke. Does get interrupted on Arcane. That's going to be Frost to follow. Big pressure out of Katarina. Potentially lots of damage. Maximum out. But Jareem maybe looking at Iceblock. Got himself an ult time. Maybe that'll be enough. Mad damage. Barrage is just tearing right through him. The man can just be... Oh my god. Was that just all the time? We're just trying to time it, but just couldn't quite do it. Katarina with that much output right now, man. The Arcane Mage. You know what? Normally we see Seamark, as well as like Jayhawk, as like the only Arcanes that join in for duels. But man, the amount of pressure they get to put out, it's just so good to see. And the amount of mobility they got is just insanely good for 1v1 situations. Now that I think about it, their tier set is going to be very much a missile oriented. That's kind of bread and butter of the playstyle. That's going to be terrifying. I'm afraid what's going to happen come 10.2. As Katarina picking up quick Shroud of Invis, trying to see if he can get himself an opener. Thrall doesn't pick it up the eyes. He sees where the mage is. He knows he needs to go a long journey to approach him, and wants to be very careful with his placement. While you're out in the open, this is where the mage wants to play him. Out in the open, away from any kind of pillars, able to kite you around as much as possible. Blinks are available, can always reposition behind the pillar, and Thrall just needs to have enough management for mobility to be able to catch back up to Katarina. Otherwise, he's just gonna run up to you, toss you in a full polymorph, and blast you out, hit you with a ring of fire that's gonna do a bit of damage over time too. Not gonna feel great. In Thrall looking to maybe get some recovery and catch a break behind the pillar. Avoid the fire damage, avoid the arcade damage, catch up a little bit of that second with healing. But for Katarina, it's going to be a bit of a tug and pull situation, whereas Warrior wants to bring the mage over in behind the pillar, over behind into the tombstones. Katarina trying to pull on the other side, trying to get him way out. He even tried to taunt him to get him out in the open. You just got two Star Wars champions that really do have a safe spot that they have, and just trying to see if he can maybe find a way to play on their side of the field. What if he's gonna have to get out of the comfort zone at some point? Probably not Katarina, who just got a big old bloodlust. Trying to see if he can trap Thrall. It's gonna hit him maybe with a ring of fire on the corner. That, or maybe just set up a proper go. Arcane Surge is going in for the massive hits. Thrall can't really go anywhere. Got him to reflect. It's only gonna reflect one of the missiles. Like one of the missiles out of entire channel. Try to go for a kick. I think actually was able to, no, did not go for a kick. I thought it was an immune. I thought it was a juke for a second. Got him some mage cast in. There goes the interrupt juke. That's going to be perfect for Katarina. If you get yourself a proper go, now is the time to get the most amount of damage in, because Thrall can't really stop unless you got a stun breath right after. Immediate trinket for the warrior, as he's trying to see if he can get himself a proper setup. Freezing the guy. Maybe he can go for even more setup. Just trying to maintain as much of a slow. Thrall committing out in the open, trying to see if he can ramp up for cooldowns of his own, as Katarina popping into quick invis just to create a 60% damage barrier, together with a little bit of that temporal, in order to start tempering some of the damage, healing up little by little. And Thrall looks like maybe second wind is going to let him catch up. Thrall does not want to go over there to Cat. Anytime he pokes his head out, hits by a barrage. Blink immediately does have a charge right after with a reflector follow, trying to see if he can maybe get himself some kind of a go. Kind of out in the open, kind of next to a pillar. Cat does get to avoid an interrupt really quickly. Actually just nuking an interrupt, a reflecting interrupt back at himself. Full burst out of the Arcane Mage, potentially back for Thrall, looking for a lot of cover, but might be in a lot of trouble. Blinks for the Mage, staying aggressive, trying to see if he can get on top of the guy as best as possible. It just keeps blasting him out. There's going to be yet another set of missiles touching the Magi. A lot of damage. Barrage at the ready, knocking him back to try to deny the Enrage Regen. You can't really waddle over to the Mage. No health at all. I think it just might be over. Nova picking up health last second. Got himself last minute to reflect, but it's going to be an interrupt for Cat. Looking for those barrages. Trying to see if he can just end you. Chipping away at your health little by little. Needs just a little bit more, but I think might just have you, Thrall. Oh, no. Katarina, I guess melee, man. I guess warriors in particular, hit him with that slow, just absolutely tangle him, drop him to an absolute just crawl. But yeah, just absolutely slow down the progress and whittle him down over time. Holy, trying to see if he can maybe use the burst of his own just not to get caught. He does the same way. Holy, not in a great spot right now. Already taking massive amounts of damage. Shield advantage just to hold off a little bit. Cat looking for an Iceberg potentially, and that's huge for Holy. He hasn't had to use an immunity. Going for regenerating just so he can save a bubble or a bop for later. I wonder if it might be one of the situations where you want to use the bubble or bop early, just so you can stay like higher health afloat as dampening slowly crawls towards that 50% healing reduction. Nova's Hand of Freedom stolen. If you can get some souls on a Holy Saya, keep him away from pillars. Katarina could be in a great spot. The only difference here between Warrior and Paladin is Paladin actually got like a range to him. They actually got quite a bit of a range with abilities. So you can't really completely cut him out, take no damage. You're always going to be taking even a little bit of punishment, as Cat trying to go for a little bit of the altar doesn't really get the most amount of recovery, and Holy Side is still able to chip away at him little by little. Stun right after Blink is available, and Holy trying to keep himself rolling, trying to keep aggressive, but a full burst is out. Might just be immunity. There goes immunity. Katarina can't really do much on this one. Got himself a bit of defense, shifting power to get some cooldowns back. Does get himself a bit of reversal. Shield is back up and available, but there's only so much they can really do. Touching the Magic, maybe mad damage, maybe can turn this around. Actually, huge hits on the Holy Side. The barrage did do a number, but just not quite enough. Touching the Magi should maybe be able to break the Shield of Vengeance. Potentially? No, it fades. It fades. But Smog ready up next over for the team one. So far, the Arcane Mage was able to hold their own for quite a bit. Smog gotta find a way to fight the Barak, Holy Saya, as well as Kioska. And Holy is just looking for an entire reset right now. Smog is giving him at least a little bit of that honor duel, as much of an honor duel as he can provide. Holy Saya, I don't think he has himself Crusade. So without his massive offensive cooldown, he's gonna have to find a way to utilize mobility, crowd control, and defenses just to buy himself a little bit of time until he get himself a big burst. And there it goes, absolutely massive damage onto Smog the Dragon. I don't think this man was expecting it. Needs some kind of a heal right now. Sleep onto Holy just to give himself a little bit of recovery. Going for Eternity Surge, looking for the quits. I don't think he gets him laying hands last second for Holy, and does end up slamming down the Dragon from a distance. My goodness. The man did end up unleashing the most amount of damage last second with Plush actually walking into Consecration. Super unfortunate. Kiddish on to Holy. I don't think there's an out for this one, right? I think it just might be over. Yeah, I might be over. That's over. That's done with. Kiosko up next versus Plush. He got a Warrior as well as double Rogue to get through. Is able to land a mark shot or punch mark onto Plush. Is able to give the pad on him. Blind out of the Rogue really early. He's looking for a bit of a reset into a gouge, but it is going to be a bonding shot to stop him. Play still can go for a kidney shot. For Kiosko, this could be really bad. Got himself pet sack in order to maybe live this. Not seeing a secret technique right now, so at least it's kind of sort of good. Freezing Trap to at least stop the Rogue for just a second while the Rogue is still holding on to a trinket. For Kiosko, it's going to be quite a lot to get through. I think he just got to find a way to get some big pressure onto Plush. Got himself Death Shock him, vanish out of the Rogue. Flare down, but still able to get the guy out in the open. Is able to go for grenades. At least able to put in some pressure. The Rogue is going to have to rotate defenses as the Cloak of Shadows comes out. At least able to root him down in place. The guy is not really looking at Kiosko. You're not really able to dodge any attacks if you're showing the man your back. And Kiosko does not get a Hunter's Mark on him or anything. But as long as you can get yourself even a little bit of reset, like a camo, that's going to be golden. Maybe we'll look it out for the eyes. But right now, whoever gets the first opener, I think it's going to be the best spot, and Plush does get caught out. Hunter's Mark, he cannot really stay in stealth at all. And if Kiosko goes in for his scatter opener with Death Chakram into a stun right after. Plus, he's gonna have to trinket something here, and scatter could be the ability to trinkets off the bat. As Kiyaska is gonna be able to start getting maybe. No, oh, now he's getting some damage in. Bonding shot for this one, plus maybe trinkets out of that. That's a lot of damage taken. Does see himself a go. Gouge to Kiyaska, taking a lot of damage right now. Just cheat death. I think it's just over. Kill shot, vanish. Oh, Shadow Build. He's still not out of the game, though. Hold on a second. He tried to have himself a go into Kiyaska. Took a bit too much of a bite. It's going to be a blind immediately. Send the pet in. That thing maybe can finish him. Rogue's starting to catch up a little bit of healing, though. Actually, quite a lot of healing. Harpoon to pin him in place. Disarm, but it's not really going to do anything for you. I don't think the Steel Trap was able to do anything, but a kill shot for Kiyaska doesn't have taken him out. Forkbeard up next. At least this gives Kiyaska a little bit of a, hopefully, a bit of a easier matchup of back-to-back, because warriors compared to rogues, a warrior I think is definitely more doable, a lot more kiteable, and a lot more manageable compared to a rogue with those vanishes and resets. But we'll see. Kiyaska is making sure to lay traps ahead of time. It's Forkbeard. I love the smog, man. Look at this gladiator looking kind of guy. Gladiator of the, like, the what am I thinking of? Olympus, I guess. That could work, right? That could work. It's like Centurion helmet, big axes. A fan of that one, honestly. That's going to be real flag. Forkbeard slowed down to an absolute crawl. And Kiyaska able to take free pot shots at the guy with those Mungus bites from a distance. Just trying to see if he can whittle him down. Has himself a disengage saved for the next shard. Stormbolt out of Forkbeard. Finally able to get himself at least a little bit of healing. But down, back into the slows, back into the traps. It's not going to feel great at all. Just a kill shot away. Freeze the trap to make sure Forkbeard does not get any recovery. Kiyaska get himself some cooldowns back little by little. Steel trap to see a couple more hits. Just a couple more abilities. But the longer it goes on for Kiyaska, it's actually kind of good. Kill shot, not enough to break through the warrior, but just needs a couple more globals. Does miss the stun, and Kiyaska is able to go for a Mungus bite. Hopefully, Kiyaska was able to spend enough time recuperating cooldowns. Does get a stun into Grifka immediately. Could shrink out of this one. Maybe a situation where you do. Big cheat, cold blood, secret technique. That's going to be mass heal for Kiyaska. Barely any healing at 83% damage. Trying to see if he can maybe get some counter pressure into the rogue, into a disarm right after with a tar trap to slow down his approach. Blind onto Kiyaska. Did use a human ration to break out of a stun, so he does not have an out at all. Cloak, or turtle shell rather, immediately trying to see if he can get himself as much healing as humanly possible. Grifka no longer has a trinket, so this could be pretty bad. Grifka does get himself stunned with a binding shot. Kiyaska maybe with a freezing trap. No, he don't have an out. I think it's just over unless somehow Rogue does not have the damage. Yeah, there's just no way he doesn't. There's just no way he doesn't. Barak charges in. Does not get himself a proper stun. Maybe super DR'd versus Grifka. Goes in for a trinket, trying to see if he can get the dots in, but the Cloak of Shadows does let him shed the bleeds entirely. Vanish before the Feral can really ramp up any more pressure afterwards. And I think maybe he has a still. No bleeds. He's actually clean. It's actually squeaky clean. Barak sitting kind of lowish on health. Made to go for Heart of the Wild. Big healing. Picking up the eyes to find the Rogue, but I think it's just over. There's just nothing he can do at the end. That is rough, man. That is rough. Katarina does get himself quite a bit of damage as the Arcane, man. The amount of power Arcane has is actually just impressive. It actually is just amazing. I love seeing it. I love how he just kind of like walks in, doesn't really care for his own safety. He just like focused on slamming whoever's in front of him as soon as possible. I love seeing that. Let's get us another one going, boys, yeah?